Hey everybody, this is the weekly forecast commencing on Monday, January the 6th, 2025. I always start with where is the moon, because the moon represents the overall kind of public tone, public reactions. And to start the new work week for most people, this time the moon is in fiery, assertive, confident Aries. Aries is risk-taking. It wants to initiate new projects. So it's very motivational to get going, to really hit the ground running for the new work week. However, Mercury, communication, decision-making, intelligent Mercury, is squaring Neptune, nebulous Neptune. So information, Mercury, that you are receiving is influenced by Neptune. So you might be getting false information, or your thinking is very muddled and confused. You may be more distracted or more lost in daydreaming. So you want to be mindful of all of that, because the moon in Aries, it's compelling you to take action. Yet decision-making Mercury is not very focused, and you're more prone to misunderstandings. So what you want to do is breathe, meditate, center yourself, think before reacting. On Tuesday, the moon continues in fiery, independent Aries. But at 2:11 p.m. Pacific time, the moon moves into Taurus. This very different shift of energies. Aries is a fire sign. Taurus is an earth sign. That moon in Aries is more of all this combustible, anxious, assertive energies. But when the public moon goes into Taurus, Taurus is more calming, more steady, more sensual. Now, before the moon goes into Taurus, the moon in Aries is going to be squaring or in tension with warrior Mars. This is about 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock p.m. Pacific time. That can be a time there's more being more argumentative, more impatient, more irritable. This too shall pass. If you're feeling a lot of anxiousness, go take a walk. By mid-afternoon or more late afternoon, 4 or 5 p.m. Pacific time, as the moon is now in steady, calming Taurus, the moon, however, will be in a hard angle to Pluto, compulsive Pluto. That moon Pluto could trigger a lot of emotional tension and stress. But like I said, it only lasts an hour or two. This too shall pass. On Wednesday, the moon, continuing in steady Taurus, will be in harmony with pragmatic grounding Saturn. This is peaking late afternoon Pacific time. This is very favorable for conducting business. It's very favorable for feeling secure and grounded and mature. On Thursday, the moon continues in Taurus until 5:07 p.m. Pacific time, when it leaves Taurus and goes into Gemini. These two signs are very different, because Taurus is very focused, very steady, very persevering. When the moon goes into Gemini, you're like all over the place. You're like walking and talking and chewing gum. You're very distracted. You're jumping from one idea to the next. But it's very favorable for a lot of mental stimulation, stimulating conversations. Now, the moon in Taurus, the first part of the day, it's going to cross over Uranus, that's been in Taurus for a number of years. Now that's going to be around 6, 7 a.m. Pacific time, when the moon once a month crosses over Uranus, there could be these unexpected emotional upsets, tension, stress. But again, an hour or two. By mid-afternoon, as before the moon goes into Gemini and the moon's still in Taurus, the moon will be in harmony with Cancer. And so there's this emotional courage and drive, take action. Actually, it's good for initiating new projects. It's good for exercising. After the moon goes into Gemini, 5:07 p.m. Pacific time, the moon will be in harmony with Pluto, powerful, compulsive Pluto, in the early evening Pacific time. But emotionally, this can be a time of really being able to express your deep feelings. It can trigger a lot of profound conversations. Now, before I go to Friday, if you enjoy these kinds of videos and would like to see more of them, click like and subscribe. And don't forget to click on the notification bell so you can always receive the latest postings. Friday, January the 10th, the moon in adaptable, witty, restless Gemini will cross over optimistic, expansive Jupiter mid-afternoon, maybe between 2 to 3 p.m. Pacific time. Emotionally, and that's kind of the public reactions, when it's hitting Jupiter, there's a lot more optimism, it's more enthusiastic, it's more uplifting, and you might be really thinking about education, that's Jupiter, thinking about traveling, making travel plans, that's the Jupiter. By early evening, around 7 p.m. Pacific time, now the moon, as it's moving off of optimistic, expansive Jupiter, is now in tension with restricted, limiting Saturn. So in the afternoon, Pacific time, you may be feeling very upbeat. But in the early evening, Pacific time, you might become worried. You might be feeling emotionally kind of disassociated, disconnected. But again, this too shall pass. Saturday, the 11th, the moon's continuing in Gemini. The moon will be squaring in tension with nebulous Neptune around 3-4 p.m. Pacific time. That could be this emotional, that's the moon, feeling confused, distracted, feeling these insecurities. That's the moon, Neptune. But then the moon in Gemini goes void of course, 4:04 p.m. to 8:25 p.m. Pacific time, at which point the moon goes into Cancer. The moon is at home in Cancer, so it's more relaxed. But when the moon is in jittery, adaptable Gemini, but then is void of course, as I mention every week, void of course again means that the moon is about ready to change signs, but it's no longer making any aspects to other planets. So there's no planetary activity. So if you initiate some major or important new project and the moon is void of course, there's no energy. So it just may be very sluggish to get in that goal, that event, to get moving along, or it just falls flat. When the moon goes into Cancer, 8:25 p.m. Pacific time, the moon, the ruling planet for Cancer is the moon. So it's a very nurturing, caretaking, family-oriented, sensitive sign through the weekend. On Sunday, as the moon continues in Cancer, it's going to be in harmony with pleasure-seeking, loving Venus, mid-afternoon Pacific time. Most of the day, assertive Mars will be in harmony with Neptune, idealistic, compassionate, empathetic Neptune. This Mars-Neptune may happen a couple times a year, or just even once a year. This is very favorable for charity. It's very favorable for healing. On a more mundane level, Mars is all that physical activity, and Neptune can be more inspiring, more musical. So it's a good day with the Mars to Neptune also for dancing, because Neptune rules music and rhythm. And also it's very favorable for swimming, as Neptune rules Pisces, the big water sign. Neptune is the god of the seas. In the middle of the afternoon, Pacific time, into Monday, the first part of Monday, the sun in organized, practical Capricorn will be in harmony with innovative Uranus. This brings a lot of favorable energy for thinking out of the box, shaking things up, getting out of a rut, trying new things. You might be more open, more interested in technology, that's the Uranus, or trying to do something all new that you've never done before, that's the Uranus. So, I want to thank you for watching. If you like information on how to book an astrology reading or to check out my 2-question offer, visit my website at gardino.co, that's .co. Until next week, be safe and well.